Hey guys, how are you? This is AJ Galante, former president of the Danbury Trashers, and I'm coming up on the I Only Touch Greatness podcast with my buddies. And be sure to catch our Netflix documentary, Untold, Crime and Penalties.
Looking for the most beers on tap? Great steaks, great staff? Head over to the John B. Pub.
We got the best beers, steaks, chicken wings, nachos in town. Come see us at the John B. Pub.
The John B. Pub, the best bar in town. Come sign up for our football pool. Say Hayes sent you.
The #1 sports podcast in Vancouver with Ryan Hayes and Big Mike.
Ryan Hayes and Big Mike are taking over the podcast scene in Vancouver. Get down or lay down.
Hey buddy, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. So you like the Seahawks?
Yeah, just a little bit. Can you tell?
That's good. though.
I even went ahead and put the Pittsburgh game and the Raiders on in the background just so I can watch it and let you know what's going on.
All right, good. Yeah, I got to hop on when I'm done. I'm so busy, I don't even think I'm going to be able to watch it, but.
Yeah. So I'm Ryan, by the way. I'm the one that's been talking to you. I'm joined with Big Mike, my co-host.
How you doing, guys?
Good. Thank you very much for taking the time for us today. We appreciate it.
No, of course, man. I appreciate the patience. It's just been insane trying to make time for everyone.
No,
I appreciate the opportunity.
And that's for sure. We were wondering, like, how many of these are you doing a day? You just going?
Trying to be a workhorse, man. That's how I used to play. I was a grinder. So, you just gotta keep grinding it out and just trying to, like I said, I feel like anyone who thinks so highly of this story and stuff, I feel like I owe it to them to, always give people the time,
That's a good way to look at it.
It is. I will
shoot the first question.
Yeah. So born in New York, what sports did you play growing up other than hockey? I know you were pretty good at hockey. Tell us a little bit about your career with hockey and your injury.
Yeah, I played basically every sport growing up. Football, basketball, baseball, even soccer for a little bit. But hockey, like I said, I got kind of hooked early. Like probably I was 8-9 years old. I started like kind of street hockey in my driveway. We got a little net and stuff, and I'm a right-handed person, but I guess in hockey I shoot lefty. So when the guy at the, shows you how little I knew about hockey, they asked me, "Oh, what are you, righty or lefty?" I said righty. They gave me a righty stick and I was holding it like a left-hander. So it was like my forehand was my backhand. So I was like, why the hell can't I lift the puck? I'm like, this is crazy. And then finally someone's like, dude, you got the wrong type of stick. So that shows you how naive I was, when I first started.
Yeah. And have you ever been to Vancouver?
Never, but I know Brad Wingfield's from out there, and I know when I was involved with hockey with the pros, it was always like where the toughest boys come from in Canada, and then you'd have like the BC guys, and then you'd got the Alberta guys, Saskatchewan, then you got the French guys. So I kind of learned very early on that rivalry is there. But I got to tell you, I think. Maybe I sound biased, but I think you guys got it.
Definitely the Western Canadian guys are always the toughest ones. The more skilled ones are all the East Coast guys.
Yeah, that's what I learned very early on, and it was it was funny when when we had John Morassi and Brad Wingfield together, they would always be bickering, about Vancouver, and I think John's from Saskatchewan or something. So they would be they'd be the rivalry. It was subtle, but it was there. It was funny to watch.
Okay.
So with the documentary that's absolutely killing it right now on Netflix, like how did it all come to, and when did you guys come up with the idea?
Well, to be honest with you, Mike, it wasn't our idea at all. They approached us. I think it was late 2018. I got an email from McLean Way, who's actually one of the Way brothers, who they produced the whole Untold series for Netflix, all 5 episodes, and they reached out. I kind of ignored him. He kept emailing. Finally, I was just like, you know what? Let me not be an asshole. I called him. And he pitched it. He's like, listen, he's like, give me a minute to pitch this. And, he told us that Netflix contracted them for this series. And, they had Malice in the Palace, the Christy Martin, he was naming all the stories. And he's like, we need the Trashers. I'm just like, the Trashers. I was like, that's like kind of a local regional story. I mean, how is this going to stack up with bigger story? He's like, no, trust me. We're going to blow this up if you let us do it. So me and my dad thought about it, and, me and him, since he's been out, when he got out of prison, I mean, we never really kind of worked till I kind of put this story to bed. And now I don't think it's to bed now all of a sudden, but, we were like, you know what, let's just do it, put this thing to bed and move on. And we agreed to do it. And here we are, just insane. They started shooting 2 years ago, August of 19. They started shooting, here in Danbury and start producing it. And I mean, it's just, COVID kind of pushed back the release of the series, and it's just been insanity ever since.
They say everything happens for a reason, though, right? So I was wondering, because I was always wondering, like, shit, were you filming back then knowing that one day you wanted to have your own show, or how did that all, or was that just like your Snapchat footage?
No, it's so funny how it works out. So, I always, growing up, I used to love the video camera. So I'd be that annoying little kid at the parties with the video camera getting in your face. And
me too.
Like, AJ, get away from me. I was like a flea, and I just always enjoyed like my mom since birth. I mean, me and my sister Candace, we have all our home videos from like birth to the day. So it's like, as I get older, I just appreciate it so much more, having this footage, from literally birth, 1986 to 2021, we have footage. And I don't know, like midway through the first year of the Trashers, I'm like, let me bring I knew there was going to be a big fight one night. So I'm like, let me bring my camcorder. And I filmed it. It was actually, you know what? I'll tell you exactly when it was. It was John Morassi's first game as a Trasher. I brought the camera, and we were playing Elmira Jackals, and I just filmed it. And he got his first fight. He ran their goalie, and he fought someone, I forget who. And I watched it, me and my buddies, and I was like, this is kind of cool. Let me just start bringing this to the games. And I would be, obviously not the whole game, but I would be taking clips. I don't know why. It was a pain in the ass to lug the thing around, but like you said, I mean, it played a huge part in this documentary. So it's insane to think like something so innocent turned into such a key moment for us.
And that's how I'm always that guy with the video camera at Mike's lacrosse games, like trying to record any fights they can get, or I'm always Snapchatting the parties, trying to just document everything for one day.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And, it's crazy. The whole thing is crazy. I keep using, people have been criticizing me on my podcast because like I use the word crazy a lot, but that's the only word I can think of. They're like, oh, he says crazy a lot. I'm like, the whole friggin' thing is crazy. I don't know what else to say about it.
And then back to your 11th birthday in your backyard with all the wrestlers. How cool is that? And like, did you have any idea? Were you just shocked? And how did they get paid, by the way?
Well, so my dad was friendly. There was an old-time professional wrestler named Captain Lou Albano. He lived in the area, and my dad was friendly with him and Lou's father. So he knew the Albanos from way back. And so I guess that year was 97. I guess the WWF had a house show in New Haven the night of my birthday party. So, Lou was able to, accommodate it. And, look, I don't know what my dad paid, but I'm sure he had to pay something. But it was really cool. And my dad can't keep a secret. So initially it was supposed to be a surprise, but the night before he kind of told me. And I kind of was like in shock. So I don't know if I believed him anyway. And when they started walking, I mean, just like you saw in the documentary, when they walked through the gate, like into our pool, I was like,
yep, Billy Gunn. You had Billy Gunn, the Honky Tonk Man, Triple H, China.
Yeah, I mean,
Rock.
it was right before, honestly, it was like 6 months or so right before all those guys like blew up. Before there was like Degeneration X and
Nation of Domination.
The Rock and it was like literally right before they all like blew up. So it's so cool to like go back and have that footage, and I'm very grateful for it.
We actually interview a lot of wrestlers as well. We've had on like Eric Bischoff. We've had
nice.
We've Kurt Angle's been on, The Godfather's been on, Savio Vega's been on,
Al Snow.
Yeah.
Al Snow's been on.
Oh wow, yeah. No, I mean wrestling to this day is a huge part of my life. I mean, wrestling growing up. I mean, I was convinced I was going to be a wrestler. I mean, that was my whole life was wrestling growing up,
Yeah.
As a kid, you must have been laughing your ass off too, seeing China smash those hamburgers, eh?
Oh, listen, people think I'm exaggerating about that. I mean, she just, I mean, like a pelican, I mean, it was like, it was like literally like just, I don't even know if she tasted it. I don't know if she was chewing. She just was just housing them. And, it was so funny. It was so funny to watch. I remember being like fixated on it. And I'd be like, she'd be going up there and, the line, and she'd have her dish and she'd be putting like 3-4 at a time. It was crazy.
Until we watched the show recently, I'd forgotten how we all dressed back in 2004. And then when I used to have the baggy jeans, the hat on sideways, the oversized jerseys.
Yeah,
the old lugs jeans and boots.
Yep. Oh, please!
You still dress that way, Ryan. What are you talking about?
I just don't have the baggy jeans.
Yeah, no, I've been getting. Oh my God, the kids have been in my gym here. The young kids have been killing me about it. But I'm like, listen, it was how it was back then. You guys wore everything too tight. We wore everything too big. That's just how it is.
That's for sure. And it was all like, I remember one of the questions I didn't write down was how many Shady shirts did you have? Because remember.
Oh man, so here's a fun fact. I never really liked Eminem because everyone used to say, "Oh, you look just like Eminem," and I'm just like, "Oh God, don't tell me that." So I never like. I think just because I never friggin' tried to I never bought his stuff because I didn't want to hear it from people.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna hit you. Any other interactions that you can tell us about with the wrestlers? We're just huge wrestling fans. I love hearing the stories.
No, I mean, like I said, we actually went to the event in New Haven, the house show, after my birthday, and we sat front row. It was me, my two like best friends at the time, my sister. We went, and yeah, man, it was fun because we got to go backstage. We met. Who did we meet? We met Mick Foley, which was awesome. We met Terry Runnels, Gold Dust, the Headbangers, Ken Shamrock. I mean, it was like I was in heaven. I mean, it was like you at the time you look up to these guys like gods almost, and it was like to meet them and they look like regular guys, in their street clothes and stuff. It was it was weird. It's weird when you only see them as like wrestlers and then you see them like as regular people. It was super weird, but. Yeah, you couldn't tell me anything after my birthday. I thought I was on top of the world, meeting these guys, thinking we're like best friends now. So it was a lot of fun.
And that was the whole, like, when you first realized the kayfabe, right?
Yes.
Where you realize they got characters to play, and then outside of that, they can go back to being normal.
Yeah, well, that's, like I've been saying, I've told the story a few times with Triple H. All the guys that came to the birthday were pretty much baby faces except for Triple H. So, at the show, they're all in action. They came around, they slapped us 5, you know what I mean? Billy Gunn gave me a hug after he won the fight, won the match. And, Triple H comes and he's Hunter Hearst Helmsley at the time. So he's like the, snob and, he's walking slowly around the ring with China, and like I said, he can't. I had my hand out, like, hey, how you doing? We were just hanging out, playing with super soakers and stuff. You know what I mean? We were hanging out, and he came right up, and he got right in my face. Big schnoz of his, and he was just like, "You kids already had your time with us. Sit down and shut your mouth." And I was just like, I was devastated. I mean, I was telling people, he broke my heart. I was devastated. And I was just like, what the hell's going on? Like, we were just friends. Like, what's the story? And no, man, I learned, like you said, I learned a lot from that. And it just made me respect that business that much more, because I'm like, you know what? He could have broke character and slapped me 5 or something, but he did his thing.
And he is known for breaking character. Of course, the MSG night where him and Scott Hall,
curtain
Kevin
call.
Nash.
The curtain call. So
curtain call.
Yeah, no, lot of respect for them.
And how good are you still at NHL? Because you play the hockey game, right?
Oh God, I got to get back on it. Now I'm getting challenged all the time, like online. People are hitting me up. I don't know how good I am. I'm old school. I play on the computer against the computer. Like, if a friend comes over, I play them. Like, I don't play like online. I see how serious it is.
Yeah,
and it's
no shit.
Oh my God. I was like, I remember when it was like NHL 94. It was like you just do a wraparound guaranteed goal type of thing. But no, a few people have been asking me about possibly doing like a Trashers online league or something like that. And you never know, man. I mean, but I don't, I don't put, I take off, I think I take icing off. I take, penalties off. I think we leave off sides just to have something authentic. But
you make a beer league.
All out there.
It's almost like beer league.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they got a league like that online, I'll be down. But if I got to follow rules and play authentically, like chip the puck off the boards and stuff, I'm going to get smoked.
I bet there's actually a shit ton of teams called the Trashers now on NHL.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Yeah, that would be. I might have to post about that and see what comes up. That would be cool to see.
Who was the highest paid player on Dansbury? I know there was like Gretzky, obviously, Rob Wingfield. Like, who was the highest paid, would you say?
Dave?
Yeah, I'll tell you like this. So, whether people believe me or not, I was a starting pitcher, right? So I started the game. I found the players we thought we would need, and my dad was the closer, right? So however he closed the deal. And honestly, I never dealt too much with the finances of it, but I would say, if you want to go on a game by game basis, probably some of the guys that didn't play full seasons, you know what I mean? Maybe a guy like Mike Rupp, you know what I mean? Because he really technically played like 16 games with us or something, including the playoffs. So I don't know. I mean, it's, I'm not naive. There was some numbers being thrown around, but truthfully, I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you.
Who would Go ahead, Mike. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, I was just going to say, who are you closest with still with those guys that played for you?
I mean, I was just talking to John Morassi right before I hopped on here, and Brad Wingfield, of course. I mean, he became like a brother to me, and you lose touch with guys, obviously, but the nice thing, I'm not a huge social media person on a personal level. I do it for business, but what's nice about it is being able to interact and interact with a lot of the Trashers that, frankly, they weren't in the documentary, and they feel so proud to have been part of this team and this legacy. It's like a badge of honor now. So I'm just happy. I'm grateful whether you laced up the skates one game with us or that you played 2 full seasons with us. I'm just grateful for everyone that was, part of this team and part of this legacy.
Mike, one guy from around here that was on the team, right?
I was just going to say that one of my favorites on your team that you guys signed was Garrett Burnett, and he's from like 5 minutes from where me and Ryan are from. So
ask Garrett Burnett, if you see him, about when he used to sleep at my house. Okay. And this guy, he's built like a shit brick house, right? So he's a monster. I mean, he's a wrestler type. And I remember for like 2 months, he stayed at my house, and this guy would come home all hours of the night. Right? The supermarket, you go to the market, you get those big rotisserie chickens. Yeah. Okay. This guy would come in, okay, like a football with two of them, right? Not to share with me, and like an animal, like a caveman, be eating it with his hand. Two of them. He'd walk in at 2 a.m. I mean, he was like a son to my mom for 2 months. My mom would have to yell at him, like, "Stop coming home so late." And he'd be coming with his rotisserie. I'll never forget it. And he'd just be, just grease all over his hands, just eating like, and he's the best. I love Garrett, and he was man, what a monster.
Oh yeah, he played a little bit of lacrosse out here too. After he was done with hockey, they signed him to play for the Salmon Bellies, the pro lacrosse league out here, and he did some damage. It was fun watching him.
What a unit! That would have been something to watch. That guy is that's a big boy. Now that's a legitimate big boy. That guy is I mean, like I said, I mean, it's all that chicken, because I'm telling you, I would see him 2 a.m. come home and just eating thousands of calories. It's insane.
That's awesome.
That George LaRock jersey in the background. We had him on the show.
Oh yeah, I got my buddy. I did a radio show with him in Montreal last week, and
okay.
The funny thing is, we almost signed him during the lockout. So
oh really?
So 2004 when the lockout was like not officially a full season lockout yet. So we got Mike Rupp for half the season, and then when the lockout became official for the entirety of that year, we tried to sign Georges and Donald Brashear at the same time.
Sweet.
And we just wanted to be able to roll out like a video game like line of like Georges Laraque, Donald Brashear. We had Stephen Pete for a few games from the Washington Capitals.
Yeah.
And we were trying to make like video games a reality, because that's how I used to be growing up. You'd stack, I'm a Devils fan, so I'd stack New Jersey with all the enforcers there.
There you
That's
go.
awesome.
We just had Kent Danico on a couple last week.
Oh yeah, Kenny. I used to love watching him. Never met him, but I used to love watching him. And I mean, I would always keep him on the team. Obviously, Scott Stevens was like an idol to me.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't a huge fighter, but just laying people out. I mean, Scott Stevens, Ken Danico. I mean, those guys. A different breed of guys. You don't see it as much anymore.
That's for sure. You never forget those. Go ahead.
Sorry, my bad. I was just saying, haven't had Gretzky on your team. Did you ever get the chance to meet the great one?
No, never met Wayne, but met the father. I met Mr. Gretzky. I mean, he flew in for the first game ever with the Trashers. He sat up in the box with us, and it was funny. We went out to dinner the night before with Brent Gretzky's mother and father, and not just such nice, good people. But no, never met Wayne, never, spoke to him. But, Mr. Gretzky, Mrs. Gretzky, great people.
Yeah. Walter's known as like the perfect Canadian hockey dad, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's like straight out of Central Casting there. I mean, he's perfect.
Do you have a dream wrestling match if you could have one?
Me versus Triple H at WrestleMania. Okay?
I love it.
He hurt my feelings as an 11-year-old, and I've been bottling this up till I mean, if you guys got wrestling connections, I mean, we have to make this happen. I mean, he almost made me cry at the New Haven Coliseum in '97. And you know what? I'm down to take a pedigree. I'm down to be a heel. I'm down to, whatever. That's my dream. I told people.
That reminds me of that scene from Superbad where they're like, "Oh, people don't forget."
Yeah, no. That's my dream match. Me versus Triple H. It could be like a 7-second match. I envision it. We face off, and I slap him, and then he just pedigrees me, pins me, and we're out of there. I don't need money. That's nothing to me. I want my in-ring moment.
How many of the scraps do you think were actually like premeditated by you and Jimmy?
Oh boy. I mean, well, we got in trouble for using the cell phone at the time. We did have the cell phone. We had a couple, we would always have allegedly we'd have some cell phones stashed on the bench with the water bottles, but allegedly, obviously. But when we got when we got fined for doing that, it was like we were throwing up gang signs. I mean, we had like hand signals. I mean, it was like we had a deaf hockey team. We were throwing up hand signals, and me and Marassi always had like this little we had this code, and you flash a number, and he goes out there, starts chirping. I mean, it's just unbelievable to think about. Like, that's what was happening for real, and that's what was happening. I mean, I was like that little asshole kid up chirping the other team, and finally,
I love that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to play that heel role because I knew when it came out that my dad bought the team and I was going to be involved. I knew everyone was going to get on me about being spoiled or this and that, and I knew I was going to get shit regardless. So I'm like, you know what? If people are gonna be on me anyway, I might as well play it up. So we amplified the whole thing. I mean, listen, what you saw was me. I mean, that was authentically me, but I amplified it, and oh man, so many opposing players, flipping me off from the bench. I'd be, we would be, I mean, just every once in a while, like trying to throw, drop Skittles on these guys, during warm-ups and like just, stupid stuff. And, just such a dick thing to do, but that's what we were doing.
That's how I play beer league hockey, man. So that's how I play too. My goal celebration is John Cena's "You Can't See Me" right in the goalie's face. I'm known for running the goalie. One time I scrapped the goalie and I threw his helmet into the stands. I've always played like Theo Fleury or Claude Lemieux.
Claude Lemieux, that was a favorite of mine too. Claude Lemieux. I mean, obviously I love the legit tough enforcers, but guys like Claude Lemieux, Sean Avery, those are to me, those are heel wrestlers.
Yep.
And I mean, Sean Avery, we're this close to getting him at the trade deadline and the 04-05 season, this close. And to this day, that's the only regret that I ever have with that team is we somehow, I don't remember why, but it just didn't go through. It's probably better for his career it didn't go through because Lord knows what we would have been doing. Lord knows.
But the one little trick is you got to walk through the opponent's bench like in beer league and you drop sand.
Oh yeah.
So then
I wish if we would have known you back then, we probably could have paid for some ideas,
Yeah, right.
And I read about your guys' equipment manager too. He was pretty good at doing some pranks. I heard soaking the jerseys, the opposing
with
team,
Crisco.
and turning the heat on in the rink and stuff like that.
Oh, I mean, it was like middle school sleepovers. You know what I mean? Like, when you're up with your buddies, you're all hopped up on Mountain Dew or something. And you just, the dumbest, stupidest things you can think of is what we tried to do. And we would sit there and think of ideas and what would be funny and this and that. And, allegedly like Visine in the water to make these guys shit, I mean, anything. We were just, it was like a middle school sleepover. That was the Danbury Trashers. I mean, just any funny thing, stupid prank, even if it didn't land or wasn't funny, we would try it anyway. We were always trying to one up each other.
But I gotta give you props though. As a 17-year-old, you built a hell of a hockey team. So would that be a dream of yours in your future? Ever doing that again or what?
Oh man, I've been asked that a million. I don't know. I mean, look. Hockey's different. You know what I mean? I mean, I had no experience when we did this. And again, I appreciate all the credit I get, but it's a total team effort. We had a great team in general, behind the scenes. And, I don't know. I mean, you never know what happens, but I don't think any league's looking to bring in AJ Galante to run things. Cause I mean, I don't know what would happen. I mean, it would be pretty funny.
Bring you in to run my beer league team.
Hey, you know what? I would probably have more fun with that anyway. I mean, that probably fits the bill better than, actual ice hockey nowadays.
Yeah, you could probably still play on my beer league team. Hey, one thoughts on AEW taking over right now and that CM Punk popped a couple of weeks back.
That was listen, that was a big one. I mean, here's the thing. Vince McMahon to me is a genius. And again, sometimes I wonder if he has something to do with AEW. Now, I'm not saying he does, but, listen, my father, what a lot of people don't know, going into our second season, my father was close to buying our rival, the Adirondack Frostbite. And he was going to make my sister, who was 4 years younger than me, the GM of that team. So he just thought, listen, it's just going to amplify everything to just a whole nother level. Because we were like Yankees, Red Sox, us in Adirondack. So sometimes I wonder, because I know people like Vince McMahon, my father, like I know how they think. And sometimes I wonder if Vince has something to do with AEW. I don't know. But I tell you, if he doesn't have something to do with AEW, then
he's in trouble.
Honestly, I got to tell you, if he has nothing to do with it legitimately, this is obviously this is definitely a threat. Yeah, 100% big threat. So we'll see. But you know what? Competition makes people elevate. And it's just like with our boxers here. You know, when one of our guys is fighting a lesser type of opponent, they seem to stoop down to that level. But when there's a little fear there, when you look across the ring and see someone that's undefeated or, you know, they're a prospect, it elevates them. So, you know, I think it's going to be good for the wrestling business in general, you know, because, listen, it's gotten a little stagnant. There's no competition really. And, but I don't know, like there's a little part of me that thinks Vince has something to do with it, but only time will tell.
Exactly. Who would you say your favorite sports franchise, football and hockey?
Oh, I mean, Yankees. I mean, New York Yankees. I mean, I have partial season tickets to the Yankees. Yankees are my team, you know, before they were a dynasty. See, a lot of people think like I was going to games before they became something. You know what I mean? Like the early 90s when they were trash, you know. Yankees, the Raiders are my team, you know, back Oakland, then LA, then Oakland, now Vegas. You know, it's hard to say the Vegas Raiders, but the Raiders, New York Knicks, you know, New Jersey Devils. Those are my team. But if I had a gun to my head, I had to pick one. It's Yankees all the way.
So obviously there's that Drake story, which you've probably told 1,000 times now. But also I seen Fabulous also had the jersey on a couple nights ago. Where does one go about getting my hands on one of those jerseys? I want it on my wall.
I just posted right before I hopped on with you guys that I just finally, I mean, I made it. Well, let me start by saying I did not expect this Netflix thing to take off the way it has so far. I did not expect the Drake thing to happen. I didn't anticipate Fabulous, you know. As a matter of fact, this is the frame where I gave Drake, you know, my jersey was in this frame. And I had to break it open to get it to him. But listen, in no way was I, you know, I knew we would come back and sell some jerseys in time, maybe around Christmas time, but I was not prepared for the demand. So I actually the past week and a half been talking to former NHL vet Andy Sutton, who I was always a fan of. He's my type of player, big, tough D-man, you know, 6'6", just a monster. I used to think I was him. You know, when I played, I used to think I was 6'6". I'm not even 6 foot. So, you know, he's got a great company, Verbero Hockey. They're like an up-and-coming hockey brand. And you know what? We came up with an agreement. They're going to be like right now our exclusive jersey partner. And we're because of Drake and Fabulous, we have a pre-order going tomorrow through Thursday for the number 17 Galante jerseys.
That's what I want.
And we're also gonna have in the coming weeks, you know, customization options, different players. I'm working with Brad Wingfield and all these guys. We got a lot of stuff coming, but the jerseys was the first thing we had to bang out quick. And you know, it's gonna be $200. It's gonna be affordable. It's gonna be full, you know, embroidered, you know, stitched, tackle twill, legit jerseys. I gotta check. I think there's a fight strap too. So we're trying to make it as authentic as possible. I mean, a lot of people thought because of Drake we were going to sell the jerseys for $500 plus, but we got to keep it fair. And I love Andy Sutton. I love his company. I like the fact his company is kind of like up and coming and like an underdog. You know, they're not like the CCMs or the Bowers. They're an up and coming company, and I want to help. Hopefully the Trasher brand can help build them up as underdogs, you know, and that's important to me.
How has the transition been for you, going from the hockey team to now the boxing guy?
Wow. I mean, boxing is a whole nother level of insanity. I mean, hockey is nice because you pay your league dues, you get your schedule, and that's all you got to worry about is compiling your team and doing what you got to do to win. Boxing, it's the wild, wild west. I mean, there's no schedule. I went into boxing thinking it was going to be like the Trashers. I'm going to scoop up all these high-level guys. We're going to start taking over. You got to politic. It's a total chess game. You have to know people. You have to play the game. You have to kiss ass sometimes. That was a total transition for me because with the Trashers, I mean, we never went to an owner's meeting. I mean, we didn't care. We pay our league dues. You give us our schedule, and we're coming to take over, you know? With boxing, I learned very quickly, you could get iced out of the business real quick. So, you know, you have to move a little differently. You know, I don't consider myself a sellout or anything. I'm not sitting there having dinner with people, but you know, you have to know what you're doing. You have to have the right contacts, and it's tough. I mean, you could work with a boxer. He may not have a fight for a few months. I mean, you may have a fight where you have a 6-week training camp. He's working like a dog, dieting, sparring. Then you get to the weigh-in and the guy misses weight and you don't have a fight. You don't get paid. So it's a total – I've been in boxing now 10 and a half years. So it's been a total 180. But, you know, I'm learning it. You got to be a little nuts to be in this business. And clearly I'm a little nuts. So it's working out.
On the show, when you were all in your suit on that opening night, your first boxing match, I thought to myself, I'm like, you kind of look like Paulie Heyman from the old ECW days.
Well, listen, I love Paul Heyman, but I grew up with Jim Cornette. See, Jim Cornette, to me, with the tennis racket, he was the first guy that I thought just brilliant on the mic. You know, total, you know, Southern hick. I mean, just a perfect heel manager. And Paul Lee, obviously, I mean, I don't know who I would choose to be my manager. I mean, I love Jim Cornette. That guy could cut a promo with the best of them, but Paul Lee too. I mean, you know, Paul Lee's a Northeast guy, so I probably have more in common with him, but you can't go wrong with either one of those guys.
Who is one of your wrestlers then right now that you're a big fan of?
You know, listen, it's a shame because I think they're both gone now, but I think they dropped the ball on Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. I mean,
yep. They're going
Bray
to
AEW.
Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt, when Bray Wyatt first came, I mean, that was the most I was like, that brought me back to like Mankind. You know what I mean? In the mid 90s, like kind of freaks you out a little bit. I don't know. You know, again, it's easy for me to sit back and say what I think. I don't know what's really going on behind the scenes, but I don't know. I think they dropped the ball on both those guys. And, you know, I really enjoyed, like, when I knew they were coming up, I would be tuning in. You know what I mean? Especially Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, and Braun, I think Braun Strowman, they really dropped the ball for sure. A guy that size, like,
I mean, and that's what they usually like is guys like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, they always like those big bodied guys. So I was really shocked. I mean, but again, who knows? I mean, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. If he was,
be a cancer in the dressing room.
You know, exactly. I mean, you know, there was times where we didn't bring certain players back and people would want to know why. And, you know, you don't know what's going on, but I don't know, man. Those two, sometimes people come through the door where you have to really screw it up. And I just think they drop. I mean, unless there was something major going on behind the scenes, I think they dropped the ball.
I think those two might show up in AEW as a tag team, or I'm thinking Bray Wyatt shows up and he's the leader of the Dark Order, which will take over for his friend that died. I can't remember the name. The guy that died.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know. You just don't know. I mean, you know, I don't watch AEW as much. If I see it, I'll tune in. I mean, I like the kid that CM Punk, when he first came, was talking about. What's his name?
Darby Allin.
Yeah, him. I like him. He's got a certain vibe, a look to him. So I like him. You know,
that's a good Pacific Northwest guy. Just like
and actually, Corey Graves used to train out of my gym.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Yeah, when Corey Graves a few years ago, he moved like 2 towns over from Danbury, and he walked in one day. I was like, "What the hell?" And he came in with his son, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to sign." You know, really nice guy, would come in, you know, hit the bags and stuff, and you know, you'd see him maybe once a month. He was always all over the place, but really cool guy.
Did the Atlanta Thrashers actually want to play you guys, or was that just a rumor?
No, the Atlanta Thrashers had nothing to do with it. The NHL tried to sue us, you know, after the first season, and they basically, they sent like a cease and desist. Like they wanted us to change our name because of all the press we were getting. People were confusing Thrashers, Trashers, and you know, whatever. So, you know, they basically were trying to tell us to change the name, you know, and we didn't want to change the name. And basically, you know, the brain trust of me and my father decided to send a formal challenge to the NHL and be like, hey, listen, we'll bring them in for an exhibition. Let's play for the name. If you know, take it back to, you know, backyard rules, you know, all right, we'll take it to the street. So we want to play for the name. And we would have lost the game, but we would have tried to beat the hell out of these guys. You know, we had some tough, listen, they had some tough guys too, but we had some tough guys. So yeah, they would have beat us on the scoreboard, but we would have sent a message, you know. I mean, the NHL had a hard on for us from the start because we didn't want to be an affiliate to an AHL team. Like, you know, I know there was some discussions with the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. They wanted us to be like below them with the Islanders. And we were like, no, we want to do our own thing. Like, we don't want you to tell us who you're taking from our team on a weekly basis. You know, no, screw you. So I think from that point on, they kind of had a hard on for us. And then, you know, as they're going through a lockout and they look bad, and here we are being a disgrace to hockey, yet we're gaining more fans. I think they tried to were trying to squash us a little, and that wasn't going to happen. You know what I mean? So, you know, obviously it didn't happen. You know, lucky for them, you know, we only lasted 2 years, but no, that's a true story. Yeah, Atlanta had nothing to do with it. It was the NHL that seemed to have a hard on.
And I heard in one of your interviews, you said that luckily last year you went and copyrighted or trademarked the Thrashers logo and stuff. How smart was that now that you got this shit blowing up and your jerseys are coming back? And I say that with all my businesses too. It's like, as soon as you have the idea, copyright that shit so no one else can.
You have to. I mean, still I'm seeing bootleg stuff that's out there, and you know, you try to police it as much as you can. But you're never going to stop, you know, there's somebody in India right now making a Trasher shirt. You know what I mean? You could police it all you want. You're never going to get them all. So you just try to police it your best you could. But, hey, listen, you know what? You can't knock the hustle. God bless them. If they could get away, you know, hey, I'm happy for them. But, you know, you try to police it as best you can.
Mike, I got one more. If you don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What does loyalty mean to you?
Loyalty to me, I see what you did there. That's a good one. That loyalty is, you know what? Loyalty to me is, you know, you no questions asked. You could have your eyes closed. You could be in another country and you know that I got your back. You know that if you ask me to do something, it's done. No questions asked. You don't have to worry about me with your girlfriend or your wife or something like that. Basically, you could go blind and never have to worry about me. That's loyalty.
Perfect.
And AJ, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time for us and coming on. Obviously, we're big fans of you and huge fans of the Trashers now that we've seen the show. And we're definitely going to be looking into getting some jerseys here and hopefully get a photo signed by you on our wall here.
No, 100%, man. Anything, you know, like I said, I appreciate the support. It's been overwhelming and humbling, and no, I really appreciate it.
Looking for the most beers on tap, great steaks, great staff? Head over to the John B. Pub.
We got the best beers, steaks, chicken wings, nachos in town. Come see us at the John B. Pub.
The John B. Pub, the best bar in town. Come sign up for our football pool. Say Hayes sent you.
Turn it up. The #1 sports podcast in Vancouver with Ryan Hayes and Big Mike.
Ryan Hayes and Big Mike. I never stop. I Only Touch Greatness podcast.
Looking for the most beers on tap, great steaks, great staff? Head over to the John B. Pub.
We got the best beers, steaks, chicken wings, nachos in town. Come see us at the John B. Pub.
The John B. Pub, the best bar in town. Come sign up for our football pool. Say Hayes sent you.